Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum. You're watching Sports Extra. I'm your host Ahmad Nawaz with the latest roundup of sports today. Let's take a look at what we're discussing. We'll start off with the fact that there is a lot of news circling around Pakistan cricket. Pakistan's going to face England first of all in a 7-match T20 international series starting on the 20th of this month, and of course hosting England after 17 years. Selectors are holding meetings ahead of the team selection, and there are also rumours that the World Cup squad might be announced as well. Obviously unconfirmed up till now, but everybody's speculating and people are coming with all sorts of rumours and news and trying to make up those squads on their own as they can. That of course happens in cricket crazy nations, but the fact is that people are looking forward to the squad against England because that would probably set the tone for the T20 World Cup as well, where things are going after the Asia Cup. Obviously there needs to be some things done selection wise. After that, Australia's ODI cricket captain has to be announced, and this is a big question right now. Of course, yesterday we also mentioned that Pat Cummins is one of the favourites, but David Warner has been eyeing this spot as well, but unfortunately he's serving a lifetime leadership ban. Cummins himself has disagreed with the fact of having one captain for all formats, and this is all happening after Aaron Finch announced his retirement from ODI cricket in his last match against New Zealand. And now of course the race is wide open, with Steve Smith also tipped as one of the favourites to probably take over as captain once again. Then of course we move on to some more news from the world of sports and discussing the Champions League, where Lewandowski's homecoming has been spoiled after Bayern defeated Barcelona 2-0. Then of course Matip starters Liverpool overcame Ajax, and Sporting stunned Spurs in stoppage time as well. On the world of football, that is of course one thing to discuss. After that, of course, we will be discussing women's football as well, but before that I think there are a lot of things that we need to discuss in detail. And of course we know that six-a-side World Cup is underway in Hungary. Pakistan have held Mauritius to a draw. Hussain scored twice for Pakistan. More than 40 nations are participating in this Soccer World Cup, and Pakistan has been a regular participant of this tournament as well, so obviously we expect some good things, and nonetheless there is a lot of talent, and all it needs is a platform as well. We'll be discussing all about that in detail. That's the lineup that we've got. We'll start off with the fact that England is all set to tour Pakistan after 70 years. Pakistan is all set to announce a squad, and like I said, the speculations are coming in regarding Pakistan's selection as well, not just for the England series but also for the World Cup. And I think a lot of things need to be put into perspective over here, because after the Asia Cup there are a lot of things that really need some clarification, because obviously there are some you can say overall scenarios in which Pakistan team has suffered. There are some negatives, there are some positives, and of course we'll be discussing this further. We've been joined on Sports Extra by somebody who obviously has a lot of insight into this, and we'll be discussing it in detail. He's been a former team manager as well, a professional cricketer himself, and also a senior journalist, PJ Mir. Assalamu alaikum, Mir Saab. Welcome to Sports Extra, sir. We'll try to get him back online. We're having some technical difficulties, but like I said, we're aiming towards the England series right now. 7-match T20 international series starts from the 20th with the matches in Lahore and of course in Karachi as well. Then England depart and they tour again to Pakistan for a test series as well, where we get majority of the matches all over Pakistan. Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium sees action once again. Fans have been really distraught because there's not been much action at the Pindi Cricket Stadium. So obviously that needs to be discussed. Once again, like I said, we'll have a lot of insight into this. We've been joined on Sports Extra by former team manager of the Pakistan cricket team, also a professional cricketer and a senior journalist himself, Mr. PJ Mir. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Welcome to Sports Extra.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you.
Sir, thank you for joining us. It's an honor to have you on the show. First of all, putting things into perspective now, 17 years is the timeline after which England is coming to Pakistan. How significant is this for Pakistan cricket?
Well, I think it's very significant because we go and play in England, and now England is finally coming back to us after this a very long break. So I think we've broken the ice, and apart from England, I think this will be the way forward, where we've seen West Indies and Sri Lanka coming and playing in Pakistan. So now slowly we'll see that others will gradually start coming in, although we were let down by New Zealand at the last minute, as they said, .com. But I think this first phase, where they come in and play 7 T20s, and after that we all go and play in the T20 World Cup in Australia, and then they come back and finish off with the Test series. So I think it's a good step. It's a great boost for Pakistan cricket, and of course, it's a great boost to the fans here, in particular, who've been deprived of international cricket for a long, long time. So, in all good, as I say, faith, I think it's a fantastic thing.
Well, Mir Sahib, you've been part of this core structure of the Pakistan cricket team management yourself as well, and you probably have a better understanding of how things work than many other people who try to make their suggestions into this whole dynamic of the team management. Now, we've got an interim setup for quite some time, and after the Asia Cup, obviously, there has to be some frustration and anger from the nation, and that's how cricket is in our part of the world, not just in Pakistan, but the entire region. There's a lot of frustration when victory is not on our side. That being said, Babar as a young captain, the team selection into perspective, how do you foresee things going now?
Well, for starters, we've got to get rid of all these coaches who, these flying coaches who hang around the team. When I was playing for Pakistan or first class cricket, there weren't any coaches. We had great motivators. We had great big names like Nazar Muhammad, like Gul Muhammad, like Abdul Hafiz Kardar, the skipper of the Pakistan team, Hanif Muhammad. And they used to guide us. And that is how we all developed. And then gradually, all of a sudden, what we see in today, modern day time, that of course, you've got your bone coach, your bed coach, your this coach and flana coach. I mean, you don't need that. You need motivators. No, you just now said we were playing great, and all of a sudden we missed out in the last two games against Sri Lanka. Why did we do that? I think we lacked motivation. The talent is all there. Pakistan doesn't hold a franchise for winning all matches. It'll win and it'll lose. But at the same time, what we need to be giving them boosts all the time are basically pep talks and boosters. Now, you can't, come along and playing a test match level or T20 level and coming and telling these players to change their technique. All you need to be guiding them is play according to what the situation demands. And that's what a motivator can do. So, unfortunately,
we're having some technical difficulties. We'll try to get Mir Sahib back online with us once again. But I think that's a fact right now. If you see where modern cricket is going and then try to gauge what we're doing, then we see a huge difference. Why is that? I think that's been put into perspective by PJ Mir, that the fact is that now a whole, I think, entourage of coaches is not the way to go forward. It's about having dedicated people who can bring in that motivation, because these are guys who are playing for the national team who've come through a structure, most of them have, from youth cricket, from domestic cricket, then first class, then making their way to Pakistan. You deprive them of their natural abilities and try to teach them what you know for the past probably 40 to 50 years. That might work then, but now is it up to date with modern dynamics of cricket? Are those coaching manuals implemented up till now? I think that's a big question mark. Mir Sahib, why are we so naive and blind to the fact that where the world is going? I don't want to even go far. I think a prime example of a team like England, who bring in Brendan McCullum as a mentor, as a coach for just red ball cricket, and immediately make a difference, and that just pairs up with Ben Stokes brilliantly. But on our side, we're still trying to implement techniques that were probably successful 30 years ago, but right now, when I gauge modern cricket, then there is a huge difference.
There's absolutely, you're right on that one. Now, when you've got your basic structure, which is weak, you'll always get weak cricketers. Now, I want to give credit here to the Prime Minister for restarting the departmental cricket, which has been the backbone of first-class cricket and international cricket since 1974. So I think this is a good step. You'll get the results of it in the next 2 years, not immediately, but you'll get it. But think about the long term. As to your question, we don't think long term. We don't have the vision. We've got a very myopic sort of a vision where we think just from a test match to test match, series to a series, not realizing to look ahead. Now, have you got the right training and motivation for the coming World Cup? No, we don't. I mean, have you discussed with the boys? Have you discussed with the selectors, or the selectors, vice versa, have discussed with anybody that this ought to be the squad, going into Australia? So these are the things which we don't really look into. We are very short-sighted. We don't look ahead. And what we do is, to your first question, Baba gets a few hundreds, we appoint him a captain. Anybody who gets a few hundred, we appoint him a captain. No, that is not it is. You've got to see the person's management skills. You've got to see his cricket knowledge. And of course, his depth of understanding the game. That is the kind of a captain we need. I mean, look at Mike Braley. I mean, he was a very mediocre cricket, but what a great captain. I mean, he had people like David Guard, Ian Botham, Bob Willis, and so many others playing under him, and they were not easy to control. But he had that management skill and getting the people out, the best talent. And so it goes with Ian Chappell. So what we and Clive Lloyd. So what we need is people who understand the game, who can handle a situation, and who think deep into the game, which unfortunately we don't. Now we all of a sudden we'll be putting blame on Babar Azam. Look, let Babar get on with it with his cricket, and you'll see he'll be a different player altogether. Get somebody who understands the game. Now, how are you going to do that? Don't discard your older players or players who work as motivators, who work as guidance, who work as somebody, you want an on-ground coach. And that is the kind of, people we need. Unfortunately, we don't do that.
Well, as a nation, of course, we deserve answers. We have the right to ask questions. Unfortunately, since the past quite some time, ever since the departure of Mickey Arthur up till now, if we gauge that era, whenever a question has been asked from the team management, recently being after the Asia Cup, very disappointing answers have come in. The coaches have gone to an extent about saying that people don't understand the dressing room environment. I mean, they made us felt that it was probably a war that these guys came back from. One of them was bleeding, one of them had stitches in their hands. I mean, all we want them to do is be 100% fit and play. So when these kinds of statements are coming from the team management themselves, who I once again quote unquote highlight, are in an interim setup for the past year, doesn't that mean, sir, that we're back to square one again?
You're absolutely right. We are. Because we take 3 steps forward and 2 steps backwards. And this has been what's been going on. And I do remember I asked our former chairman, Dr. Naseem Ashraf, that, this is a very important question. This question I raised with the former chairman, and I said, look, let's get everybody from Pakistan. And we held, a conference in London, a surgery in Lahore. And that is where we got everybody from Karachi to Peshawar, and who came along and gave their views. And we were heading towards, I think, towards a more solidifying sort of a situation for the Pakistan Cricket Board. We got the constitution in during that period. But then as boards come, they change. The chairmen have their own policies. We have chairmen who have no knowledge of the game of cricket. You appoint them as chairman. I mean, what kind of a joke do we play with the game? I mean, you've got to have people who understand the game, who know what cricket is all about. But here, we are on ad hoc basis. We are on absolutely, series to series or match to match. And then, of course, what we do is, in the interim, we destroy good players. We destroy good players by not giving them the right chance at the right place. Look at India. They got in this boy Bishnoi, and I see a lot of talent in him, although they played him. But it will take time before, we start working on a more solid sort of a situation. Unfortunately, we're not doing it. I'll give you an example. Myself, when I made a debut in first-class cricket, what did I get? A pair. I got a 0 in the first inning, 0 in the second inning, and I've been scoring tremendously in all forms of cricket. So I asked skipper Hanif Mohammed, I said, Skipper, I'm doing everything. What am I doing wrong? He says, just open up your stance. He said, then you watch. I opened up my stance, played against PIA, got 56 in the next match. Now that is the kind of coaching you need. You need to be motivated. I mean, this is all you need, fine tuning. But you can't change a man's technique overnight, coming and playing test cricket. And then, he's been playing test cricket for what he has been performing in the other circles of cricket. So when he comes into test cricket, you want to change him. You try to change Zahir Abbas, who had the highest backswing. Zahir didn't change. And look at it, one of the best, the greatest batsmen Pakistan or the subcontinent has produced. So what I'm trying to tell you is, you need motivators. as far as cricket is concerned, on the ground. You need motivation. Get them out when they come off the ground. Motivate them, because no matter what cricket you play, whether it's green cricket, club cricket, or first or whatever, people do get disappointed. Now, Pakistan team over the years, I have always seen they don't gel. And why don't they gel? Because they huddle themselves together. They don't speak to the opposition, and they stay in their own dressing rooms. And you expect them to, play international cricket. Well, it doesn't work like that.
Well, sir, immediately the nation is going to have high hopes in the T20 World Cup, but they need to understand the same perspective. So, obviously, my final question to you would be that what's the onus on the players? Like you mentioned, that just one little word of wisdom change your entire game, and that's a practical example that we see. That can be happened, but unfortunately, even before the Asia Cup, I saw videos, everybody did, of how particularly Fakhar Zaman was being coached through a proper technique of those colored balls. And I immediately thought this, and I'm no expert, sir, that he's going to be late on the ball, and this is what happened to the Asia Cup. Secondly, you've got players who don't have a role in the team right now. They're just told that, okay, if you can hit probably 2 sixes, that's what we need from you. So like you mentioned, that this short-term strategy, we need to understand the dangers that we would have going into Australia in the T20 World Cup, because those teams are no walkover and they're going to study you every bit.
You're absolutely right again. Look, we've been winning through the tail. You get a few sixes, like in the low batting order, and you win the games, like we did in the T20 World Cup in Dubai. This thing has got to be eliminated. We bank on only 3 players, and if the 3 don't perform, the rest of them just crash out, or by an accident. Like, for example, what you mentioned, 2 sixes. Naseem comes along and hits 2 sixes, and you win the game. We had really lost the game. So we've got to be consistent all around. Look at Sri Lanka in comparison. There were 8 players who were on double figures, and Pakistan, we were on 5, and they were even lower double figure. So what went wrong? What goes wrong is that each player who goes in starts worrying, oh my God, he's got out, I've got the pressure. No, you play your own cricket. You play according to the circumstances. You adapt according to the circumstances. And the senior player always takes a strike. And the junior player who comes in, he's just there to give you ones and to give you the strike. And the senior player carries on, and the junior player gradually involves himself into what's going on in cricket. This doesn't happen. And I'm so sorry to say that there is nobody out there who can motivate them.
Sir, are you in favor of the concept of having a power hitting coach going into the T20 World Cup? Because at once, for the team and for the nation, it feels like a silver lining probably getting Matthew Hayden on board.
Well, you've got to have one coach here who acts as a motivator. Look, Pakistan team boys, they are as good as anybody. Okay, they lose, they win, but they are good. But what needs, what's the need of the hour is it's motivational and, of course, directional. The coach has to understand. Now, you got a foreign coach, most of the boys don't even speak English. So what do? Where is the communication gap? So all these factors, they count a lot. And I think that, if Matthew Hayden is going to be going along, I think you need somebody at least who interprets and, speaks to the boys on that. That's what you're, as I would say, a temporary arrangement, not a permanent arrangement. It's not a permanent solution. Think long ahead. Think about the next World Cup coming along now.
Definitely. It's like applying duct tape to a leaking water pipe, and definitely not a permanent situation. PJ Mir Saab, thank you very much, sir, for joining us. It's been an honor, and hearing from you and the analysis has been a real insight into the game.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right, that was, of course, former professional cricketer and expert and part of the PCB team management as well. He's been a former media manager with the Pakistan cricket team and an anchor these days. I think the fact is that a long-term strategy is needed. These short-term strategies won't get us anywhere, and that's what Mir Saab has highlighted as well. And the coaching department, definitely a big question mark. Let's go to a short break. When we come back, we'll have more. Welcome back to Sports Extra. Time now for our football segment. It was Champions League night, and we're going to be discussing all about that. Let's take a look at this report.
Missed chances by Robert Lewandowski on his return to Bayern Munich proved costly as his Barcelona side lost in Germany. Outplayed in the first half, Bayern blew their Spanish opponents away after the break with goals from Lucas Hernandez and Leroy Sané. Hernandez headed in at the near post after 50 minutes before Sané clipped home to seal the win shortly after. Lewandowski spurned a number of clear openings in an entertaining match. The victory puts Bayern Munich in control of Group C with 6 points from 2 games. On the other hand, Joel Matip's late header against Ajax at Anfield gave Liverpool their first Champions League win this season. Boss Jurgen Klopp demanded a reaction to the horror show of the 4-1 defeat at Napoli, and this was certainly a vast improvement. Liverpool created plenty of chances and deservedly went ahead when Mo Salah swept home Diogo Jota's pass. Mohamed Kudus's searing shot went in off the underside of the bar to level the score, but Joel Matip pounced in the 89th minute. Meanwhile, Tottenham lost their Champions League clash with Sporting Lisbon 2-0 thanks to 2 stoppage time goals from the Portuguese giants. The game was dragged for long periods, but Paulinho and Arthur's goals in the 90th and 93rd minutes sunk Antonio Conte's side out in Lisbon.
Well, there you have it, all you need to know about the Champions League night. To discuss this further, we've been joined on Sports Extra by sports expert Ali Mehdi. Assalamu alaikum, Ali. Welcome. How are you?
Walaikum salam. Thank you for having me, Ahmad.
Right, Champions League nights are always fun, but I love the fact that Bayern Munich supporters were chanting, "Who is Barcelona?"
And that's exactly what the case was yesterday. Two of the best teams in the Champions League who won a total of about 11 titles together, fought against each other. Two of the titans of the competition. And, from the minute go, it was brilliant at the Allianz Arena. Robert Lewandowski, the cult hero, coming home, playing against his former club. And I would have to say it was an extremely entertaining game, as mentioned in the report. First half, dominated by Barcelona, the away team, spent so many opportunities, had possession. Lewandowski could have scored a hat-trick. But, Bayern Munich got lucky to actually get away without conceding in the first half. Second half, there was more tempo, more pressing, more, you could say, more tactical nous by the Bayern Munich team, and then they took the opportunity when Lucas Hernandez actually scored off the far post, by a header and then wrapped around by Sané. Bayern Munich can consider themselves a bit lucky because Barcelona overall were the better team. They had so many opportunities, more than 10, but they spurned so many by hitting it on target. But overall, Bayern Munich got their job done, but they'll have to learn going forward because despite losing yesterday, I thought Barcelona can be very proud, of the future and, really need to work on their finishing.
Ali, this is a hard pill for Barcelona to swallow, that it's not going to be about the names, because ever since the departure of Lionel Messi, it's been sort of something that they've not recovered from. On the other hand, their counterparts in La Liga, Real Madrid, did it brilliantly because their system was just too strong. Now they can of course get, and I say this with all honesty, probably one of the best strikers in the world in the form of Robert Lewandowski, but until that system is intact, nothing's going to work.
Indeed, and that's the reason why, these things take time. You have a new manager who came in last year, Xavi has come. He's actually putting in a system, his tiki-taka type of play, tactical play, which he actually was so renowned for. Is taking time to implement itself in the Champions League and in Barcelona. But it's you could see that you could see that imprint over there. You can see that it's coming about over there. And I have to say that you could see this in portions and patches that they were doing. It's just a matter of time. This team actually has got an extremely good team, gelled up together. It's just about getting to know each other. It's just about getting that chemistry correct. And once they work on their finishing, I'm telling you, they can actually. I think they're very strong favorites for both La Liga and for the Champions League because I saw there were bits of the Barcelona play which was breathtaking yesterday. It's just about they will have to work slightly about their defense and about their finishing. Otherwise, their midfield with the likes of Gavi, Pedri, Busquets.
Right. Thank you very much, Ali Mehdi, for joining us on Sports Extra. We'll just go towards a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Extra. Time now to discuss something very particular on football. The Socco World Cup is underway, and Pakistan's team in the six-a-side tournament has been performing decently. They were obviously there trying to make amends, but they were held to a draw. They managed to hold the other team to a draw as well. It was a good enough competition. Mauritius is a good enough side. They've got talent as well. But I think we need to explore this entire domain, Hussein scoring twice. But the thought of it, and I'm very honored to be joined by somebody whose family has their roots when it comes to giving back to Pakistan, because like I always say, there are very less entities that have come out forward in order to give back to society, to this great nation that we all love, and the Trunkwala family is one of them, because they've been involved in this entire process since generations, we might say, and this younger generation now, the new representative of it, can actually better highlight this. So very honored to be joined by Mustafa, Shahzaib, Trunkwala. Assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Walaikum salam, good. How
Thank
are
you for joining us. Great to have you on the show. Well, first of all, I mean, for people who know and for people who don't know, they want to understand this entire thought of sticking to this entire domain of leisure leagues in the Soccer World Cup. Why? What is the thought process behind?
So back in 2016, we started off by thinking that football wasn't as much of a sport as it was abroad. So we thought there's a huge vacuum here. So we went to the UK where there was a franchise, and we spoke to them about it, and there was a huge opportunity of football in Pakistan. And we thought it would be a great way to promote football and other sports as well by that means. And it was just, and my great-grandfather back in 1946, he was doing matches and stuff, and my grandfather, Mehdi Trunkwala, he's the chairman of World Group. My dad's the president of Leisure Leagues. So we decided to do something in a collaborative effort as a private organization. As you know, like, sometimes we have to do it for the betterment of our country, and there's so much potential in the youth. There's so many talented players in Pakistan. So we thought it would be a great opportunity to put that talent to use and invest, and hopefully for the better of the sport itself.
But like you mentioned, it has to come from the heart, because there, like I said, there are very less communities that don't just see business in it, but actually want that entire, you can say, prospect or that vision to be promoted.
Definitely. It definitely has to come from the heart. That's why even as sponsors, like you mentioned for the Soccer World Cup, we sponsor with Kuwait Gladiators. They're known, they just love sport. It's all about the sport for them. So when we partnered with them, our visions were aligned. So we saw that they were as interested in the promotion of sport in Pakistan, less than like the investments and funds. It's obviously important, but it was more like we actually want it to grow as an industry in Pakistan.
Definitely. So you yourself have got international exposure now because of
yeah.
your educational campaigns.
Yeah.
So you better understand the dynamics over there. And obviously we always say there's a huge gap that we need to bridge.
Definitely.
Certain dynamics infrastructure-wise in Pakistan are not that positive.
Yeah.
But credit to these guys who always come out with talent and defy all odds.
Definitely, for sure. Even like the way that the structure works, if you must know, it's like we start from cities, so we're in over 76 cities, from Gilgit to Karachi. Every city has their leagues, and then we go, each province has their leagues, and it goes to national and international level. So we have a very rigorous process, and that team they get to go abroad. So we've actually committed, and we've delivered for the last 3 years, 2018, 2019, and then this year we've gone to Budapest, and the team has been seeing progressively, they've been doing a lot better. And the first match against Mexico was 1-0. The second match was getting better, and then we just drew with them. So we have 2 more matches on Thursday and Friday against Scotland, Ireland. So hopefully we will do better. So we are seeing betterment changes. Training's getting better. The coach, Gauhar Zaman, is an amazing coach. He was Pakistan team's coach as well. So we are definitely seeing improvements.
What's the biggest challenge when you talk about your outreach to these entire cities, which you believe is there?
I think the biggest challenge would be just during COVID is what we faced. For 2 years we didn't have any leagues going on because there was a huge barrier, obviously physical and stuff like that. So now we need to get back into the game. We need to like invest, get our connections again, get the game running, get the ball running. So that's something, that big gap that we had. We went in 2017, get all those big international stars to Pakistan, then quiet down again. And now we're trying to get the ball rolling again, hopefully with big sponsors and people who are, like you said, from the heart interested in this sport. So I think that was a barrier which hopefully we'll overcome.
I remember 2017, and it was very interesting because as a journalist covering the event, one thing that I saw on the faces of these young footballers is that it's not necessary that they've got to leave the country and go abroad to get that experience. Exactly. What you smartly managed to do was bring that international exposure to Pakistan.
Back then, I think no one believed it would happen. We ourselves were like, nahi aayenge. Until then, we didn't know if they were going to come. Security reasons, a lot of different reasons. But when they finally came, and every single media around the world, like people, countries that we don't even know were covering, saying like, Ronaldinho, Ryan Giggs have come, and they're promoting Pakistan, like it's a safe
Look,
country.
I'll brag about
reputation.
this. I made gigs and Ronaldinho say Pakistan Zindabad.
Yeah.
I'm going to brag about
That
this.
was very impressive.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
but it was interesting for them as well because they had no idea
had no
about the
idea.
football infrastructure in Pakistan.
Exactly. When they came, they saw what the reality was, and then that's why they've been committed to working with us. Other players have also been contacted us saying, we also want to come and not only, like you said, bring them there. Now also our people who would have never had the chance to travel are also going internationally, playing matches, making us proud abroad as well. So it's great.
Most of the time, we often say that it should not be result oriented. So whatever the results are, one thing we need to focus on is the amount of experience and how we can use it as a bridge to spread further.
Definitely. And I also think another barrier that we faced is a lot of the people, like our team this year, we had half the players who were foreigners and half the players from Pakistan. So the first time they saw each other was a day or two before the match, right? So when they all went, Acha, you play this player, you're in that position. So maybe like from now on, we're already planning for next year's Soccer World Cup, which we're going to find out where it is soon. And from today, we're going to encourage the youth to come, play, sign up. Let's make our team from now practice together so we can do even better.
So the combinations going forward.
Combinations, definitely.
Well, I must say sports is evolving at a rapid pace, as is technology.
Yeah.
So how much do you believe that modern techniques need to be involved now? Because obviously six-a-side becomes more aggressive, more the intent.
Definitely.
I mean, less the area, more the action in it as well.
Yeah.
So how important is it to cope up with those modern requirements?
It's very, very important to cope up with them. And one of the main things that people say is the difference our players say between futsal and football is, like you're saying, it's very rigorous. It takes a lot of stamina. So people don't understand exactly. It's like in a short space, short time, you just need to do your best, right? So we definitely need to keep on top of those things.
Definitely we do. Well,
Sure.
Mustafa, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank
It's
you
been
so
an
much
honor,
for
and
having me.
congratulations to you and your family for at
Thank you.
least holding up that legacy of being true Pakistanis
Thank you
and
so
contributing
much.
back to
We
the
hope
side.
we can make a difference, and we encourage everyone to sign up, play, and promote us on a national and international level.
Inshallah, that is all. Thank you very much for
Inshallah.
joining
Thank
us.
you so much.
That was Mustafa, Shahzaib, Trunkwala, and as he's mentioned, the thought has got to come from the heart, and that vision is there. And it's a prime example of how other entities can follow suit and be dedicated to a cause. Once you're dedicated, then you don't worry about the setbacks. You'll find your way and you'll contribute to this great nation that is of Pakistan. Well, the Leisure Leagues has always been here to stay. So has the Trunkwala family, because as like I say, that the game is being promoted not just in 1, 2, 3, but 76 cities across Pakistan. And boy, that number is bound to increase as far-flung areas also get incorporated in this as well. That wraps up this edition. Join us tomorrow once again from me and the entire team. It's goodbye for now.